the foot of the cross, where grace and suffering meet. You have shown me your love through the judgment you received, and you've won my heart. Yes, you've won my heart. Now I can trade these ashes in for beauty, and wear forgiveness like a crown. Coming to kiss the feet of mercy, I lay every burden down at the foot of the cross. In today's reading, we find Mary of Bethany anointing the feet of Jesus with expensive oil, which caused a bit of conflict. There's a beautiful reading from the book Bread and Wine by Ernesto Cardenal. The place was Salamantin, an archipelago in Lake Nicaragua. The setting was a worship meeting, the mid-1970s. Padre Cardinal was the priest. It was Bethany. When they were sitting at the table, a girl approached Jesus and poured perfume on his head. When the disciples saw this, they were angry and they began to say, "Why this waste? This could have been sold for much money to help the poor." Oscar: if they'd sold it, it would have only gone to a small number of poor, and the poor of the world are countless. On the other hand, when she offered it to Jesus, she was giving it in person to all the poor. William: but all that perfume and the bottle, the alabaster bottle. Padre: the alabaster bottle was sealed and it had to be broken to use the perfume. The perfume could be used only once. And the gospel says the whole house was filled with the fragrance of nard. It is believed that the nard was an ointment that came all the way from India. Teresa: maybe a smuggler paid her with that. Maria: Jesus was a poor man too, and he too deserved to have perfume poured on him. Donald: the criticism must have been because the perfume was one of the most costly, but for her it was still cheap to spend it on Jesus because of what Jesus had done for her earlier. She wasn't paying even a quarter of what she owed him. Jose: but Jesus hasn't forgotten the poor because he says they will always have the poor among them. He means if they want to help the poor, they can be helping them a lot later. They'll have the opportunity to give everything to the poor. Bosco: that's stupid. Loreno: that's a pretty weak answer because to say you're always going to have the poor with you is silly. Padre: he doesn't say there will always be poor. Let's read it again. Miriam reads, the poor will always have among you. William: and the always? How must we interpret the always? Padre: very simply, as long as there are poor, they will always be among us. We shall not be separated from them because the Christian community must be with the poor. A student: I've got it. He says among you. He's referring to them, to his disciples. But that doesn't mean they'll never fail to be poor. He's not talking to all of humanity. Loreno: well, it was the disciples that he was saying that to. The disciples have to be among the poor. They couldn't be among the rich. Olivia: it could also be he was telling them instead, it seems to me, that there wouldn't be rich people, that everyone had to become poor. Felipe: those who now want to spend a lot on the church buildings and not on the poor, they're repeating what Judas did in opposing pouring perfume on Jesus. Judas did it because he wanted to get the money, and the people that now want all the spending for the churches, it's for the same reason, because they live off that money. They're thieves. What this woman has done in pouring this perfume oil on my body is to prepare me for my burial. I tell you that wherever this good news is announced throughout the world, what this woman did will also be told, so you may remember her. Olivia, it seems to me that the remembering is for us to also do what she did, so that we do it now, not to him anymore, but to the poor, or to him and the person of the poor. That's why we must remember her. The woman gave up a luxury, and people like us who don't have perfumes or luxurious things to give because we're poor, Felipe, we can give other valuable things that we have. Loreno, we can offer our lives just as Jesus did. Then it will also be for us, that perfume that the woman poured on Jesus. Today, let's ask ourselves, are we willing to offer up the most valuable things we have to Christ, to building the kingdom, and to those around us who are poor?
At the foot of the cross, where I am made complete, you have given